subject, the thief, and then they have the predicate, so the rest of the sentence. And they both have that, so that's compound. So what we're looking for complex is an independent clause and a dependent clause. One part of a sentence that can't stand alone, that needs its friend part of the sentence. Yes, Mary?
When the bell rings, the student should be in the classroom.
Good. When the bell rings, the student should be in the classroom. Or is it all just one? Yeah, no, that works. I think. When the bell rings, comma, the student should be in the classroom. Because the student should be in the classroom, can stand on its own. And when the bell rings, cannot. I'm trying to think if. Yeah, that works. So last but not least, compound complex. What do you think that is? And if you don't know, take a guess based on what we've talked about so far. Compound complex. Mary?
Independent clause and the conjunction, then dependent clause.
So it's basically using both of these. So compound, so I think you're right. So compound, which has two independent clauses, right? Connected with the conjunction. And complex, which has a dependent clause. So for example, who has an example? Grace?
Since the final week is coming,
So that's our dependent.
students cannot go outside and play, and teachers also can relax.
Do you think teachers can relax? The final week?
Can't.
Oh, can't relax. Perfect. Perfect. That's a great example. So you had your dependent clause first, and then you had your two independent clauses. Great. So as you're going through, side note, so as you're going through writing your papers, try to identify what part of your sentences, especially if you have a sentence that's not sounding right or it's not working right, and see if it works, and if it is a simple or compound one, and maybe you've got a compound one but you're not using a conjunction, or maybe you've got two dependent clauses by themselves, which means it's not really a sentence and not a complete sentence. And so try to identify those in your own sentences in your work, and that might help you with your editing, which is part of our writing process. So last but not least, we talked about this, I think, last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. Sentence voice, active versus passive. What does that mean? Yishwan, I saw you shaking your head.
Can I give an example?
You can give an example, yeah. Look at this.
Tom hit Jerry. Jerry hit by Tom.
Tom hit Jerry is what? Active or passive?
Active.
Good. Jerry was hit by Tom is
Passive.
obviously passive. Good. And so, which is most commonly used and probably better to use so you don't confuse the reader?
Active.
Good. Active is simpler, it's usually more clear, and it usually states the subject and then the action that they're doing. Great. Those are great examples. Okay. So we're doing okay on time. I think I'm running a little bit over. If everyone can just take one of these papers, and we're going to do just a brief, quick, stuck, peer edit or group edit. Jennifer's paper, or part of it. Okay, cool. What side do we want to start by? We're going to read this together as a group. Yoonji, why don't you start, if you can read the first sentence, nice and loud. Everyone reads just one sentence. We'll keep going around.
AB
it is important for government to protect animal and wildlife for the future generation.
Whether the government should protect the animal and wildlife for future generation, that it has lost a wide discussion.
One point is that it is necessary that to protect wildlife environment.
And why raise this opinion?
First of all, to protect the wild
Wilderness.
is equal to protect the ecosystem which the human lives in.
Similarly, with animal with the same ecosystem and the animal's situation will bring a harm to the environment like human used to.
However, the ecosystem is valuable without government preservation. So the production from the government is extremely necessary.
Take the South Pole as a good example. The government are focused on developing the ecosystem as the environment from heavy point.
However, the overdevelopment industry bring a large problem, that is global warming.
It affects the human life.
Secondly, to build some national park to protect the wilderness will have a large income.
This is because a good national park is attractive and it will attract many tourists to visit.
Take the Yellowstone National Park as a good example.
The governments are focused on developing the industry, thus the environmental problem have been ignored.
It attracts large amount of tourism to that town, and it makes the local tourism is prosperous and bring considerable money to the local government.
Therefore, constructing a national park not only can protect the environment but also increase the income to the local government.
Fundamentally, there is solid proof to show that to protect the wilderness and the animal needs to spend large amount of money.
However, if we can view such situation as a closer distance, we will find that the real situations has been oversimplified as it has been hurdled by problems.
The government is reluctant to invest in all this, while in the future we need to spend more money to fix the environment we live in.
After carefully examine all the pros and cons from multiple perspectives, we may now
Confidently.
reach the conclusion that protecting the environment is necessary to the government.
Okay. First of all, very nicely written. I think you have a lot of great points. What was this for? I should have asked before I had everyone read.
The TOEFL test.
Oh,
And the practice for the test.
okay. Did they say write write about anything you want, or did they give you topics?
No, there are topics. There there's a really thick book of TOEFL
Uh-huh.
test, and there are many topics that which test in the past.
Okay. Great. It's very well written. I think you did a good job with the content. I noticed a lot of small grammatical errors, but I want to see what everyone else came up with, and then we'll talk about. And they're consistent, so it seems like there's something that you can work on. Can anyone tell me what they noticed? Any of the small grammatical errors that were found in this paper?
On the third paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
the last sentence, the verb should be affects the human's life a lot. There's no.
Yes, and that you picked up exactly what I was going to get at. I think one of the things that you need to focus on is the use of s, so to make things plural. So it affects, just as Grace said, it affects the human's life a lot. So just by adding that s, where else can she add an s?
The second paragraph, the first sentence, which the human lives in.
Which the human
Lives in.
I'm not finding it.
The second paragraph, first of all.
Are you talking? I'm talking about the second. Are you counting the AD as the first? Or
No. That is the topic.
that's the topic. Okay. And what does AD stand for?
Agree or disagree.
Oh, okay. Oh, that I should have asked that in the beginning. Okay, so the second paragraph then. Where should the S be?
Which the human lives in. First of all, to protect the wilderness is equal to protect the ecosystem which the human lives in.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So the first line in that, which the human lives in. And then the second sentence, if you keep going, humans live with animals in the same ecosystem. So adding humans and animals. So if you were to go through with a pen and just strictly look for where you need to add S's,
There are too many.
there's a lot. And that's okay, because that's actually it's probably an easier grammatical error to correct, right? And so this is another way to go through when you're editing your papers for your final. Think about one thing in particular, maybe something that you often struggle with, like articles, right? So if you read your paper and specifically look for articles and make sure that each one is correct, and don't even think about the rest, don't even think about the content or anything else while you're editing for just articles, that's a good way to go through and edit for something that you know you struggle with. And it doesn't have to be that, it could be past tense, subject verb agreement. If you struggle with that, go through reading your paper just with that idea on your head to make sure that all of your subjects and verbs agree. Okay? It might take a little bit longer because you might have to edit a few times because you're editing for content. Another time you're editing for subject verb, something's, the article, but at least that way you'll catch all of the little grammatical errors, because sometimes when you're just editing for everything, it's just too much, and it's hard to catch everything. So that could be a tip. And that was the biggest thing that I found. Is there anything else that anyone found that she could work on?
I think verb tense.
Verb tense? Can you give an example?
In the second paragraph, then the second the sentence which start with take the South Pole as a good example. The governments are focusing, so it should be are focusing or just focus on development industry does.
Perfect. So you need to, do you see that one, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Good. Good catch. Overall, I think very well written. I really enjoyed reading that. Okay, guys, it's time for evaluation. So raise your hand if you do not have a computer with you right now.
I'm already done the evaluation this morning.
So on top of it. Okay, so you and Grace have finished. Kenny, you do not have a computer, and you do not, Estelle. So you have two choices. You can befriend one of the girls who, well, Jennifer you didn't bring a computer because you didn't need one, right? Okay. Well, Grace has one, so you can either befriend her unless she needs to go run somewhere, or you can do it on your phone. So those are your two options. Or if someone else finishes quickly, but I think you do need some time to type out. It's easier on a computer because you can type a lot faster than on your phone, right?